Hello, my friend, and welcome to Namaste Today, a positive way to start every day. I'm your host, Sensei Christopher Witecki, psychic astrologer and friend to the world. And this audio blogcast is for Friday, January 6, 2017. Welcome, my friend, and Namaste. It is a cosmic and karmic weekend ahead of us. We have the sun crossing over Pluto, and just after it does, Mercury goes direct on Sunday. So in today's Zodiac Weather, I'll be talking about how to face your fate. And then later in your tea time, I'm going to talk about what's on the other side of this Capricorn mountain, Pluto in Capricorn, and what I see for the upcoming year in 2017, particularly with Saturn. But first, let's listen in on today's mood and your Zodiac Weather. This Zodiac Weather is for Friday, January 6, 2017. Well, today, Spirit rules the day. The Sun is at step 16 Capricorn. 16 adds to a 7, and Spirit is the number 7. And it's one spiritual look before we leap to our death. What do I mean? Well, the Sun is crossing Pluto tomorrow, the planet of death, and it means the end of one era and the beginning of new. Let's take a look at the planets. Step 16 rules the day. 1 plus 6 makes 7, and that means psychic sense and our connection to God rule the day. And this is just before the Sun conjoins Pluto tomorrow, or dead conjoins, meaning that we're at the death of one part of our life and the birth to a new. Pluto is life and death. It is the ruling planet of Scorpio, and today your psychic senses chime in before you jump. And don't think the universe isn't trying with psychic senses. Venus is conjuncting Neptune. Mars and Chiron are all creating a 4-planet stellium in Pisces. This is a huge investment in spirituality and God. This is one of the reasons why I haven't been panicking so much in the political situation, because I happen to know the planets are invested on the spiritual true path more than they normally are right now. It's pretty powerful. And today, Spirit will try to rule or get something in front of your face. So today, take a look for little signs, your dream life, some past life person checks into your life and gives you an interesting message. This is more than a coincidence. This is Spirit letting you know it's time to shift your awareness. Now, another clue is Mercury retrograde. Mercury is retrograde for another 36 hours. And before it goes direct, it will retrograde back to step 28, Sagittarius. This conjuncts the galactic center, the eye of God, which in my opinion is one's mission or total duty here. So I believe that you're going to, at the same time of saying goodbye, sayonara, to something from your Pluto, you'll be saluting your official spiritual plan of why you were born on Earth. Now you may go, Sensei, this sounds a little heavy for me. I was just going to go out on a date. Well, I think if that was the case, there's something about that date that's with your destiny, and I think you should underscore it and take it kind of seriously. So whatever's happening is symbolic, and it kind of begins today. So listen to your senses today. Now, today's a 2-part day. You're going to feel ready for the future and ready to rock, basically, for the first half of the day. And then as the moon transits into Taurus, you'll probably feel like you are bankrupt or don't have enough energy or money. It's not you, it's actually just the early degrees of Taurus, and considering we're on the edge of some sort of jump or change, it could make us a bit more jittery than usual. But realize, if you just baby yourself, tomorrow on Saturday when you wake up, you'll be feeling rather valuable. Now, looking to the weekend, my friend, tomorrow on Saturn Day, I think will be extremely serious. The Sun conjuncts Pluto. There's something about that day that is the end of old and the beginning of new. It can be quite personal and inside of you, or it could be something happening outside of you. Even if something is happening as far as an engagement or a speech or something, I argue there's something symbolic about it that represents the old and the new. This is the basic day where you have to decide what it is that you are going for and what it is you are turning your back on. And for each of the 12 signs, this sort of varies, but your deadline technically is tomorrow. I think most of us already come to it, but I think on Saturday we feel that indeed it is here. Then on Sunday, step 18 rules the day, and Mercury goes direct. So what's interesting is step 17 is I decide. Step 18 is I act. And the funny thing is we decide on Saturday, and boom, Sunday, we act. And not only do we act, but Mercury goes direct, business goes forward, your mind shifts into forward gear. Remember, you might have to reboot some technology, your phone or something like that, because whenever the polarity shifts, things kind of get a little wonky. But the moon will be in Taurus at the same time that we're moving forward. So I predict Sunday to be a great day. In fact, I predict many breakthroughs to be coming up here from this point forward. We were waiting for this moment. So if the years felt sluggish to you, and if the end of the year of last year felt sluggish to you, I know, I was feeling it too. Here's the good news. It looks like we are moving forward beginning Monday. In fact, that's kind of what tea time is about. In today's tea time, we're going to talk about on what's on the other side of this Mount Pluto. So go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our daily tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is on the other side of Mount Pluto. And I've been talking a lot about Pluto. Not because it's that big of a deal. I mean, the sun crosses Pluto once a year, every year. But you have to look at how far progressed the planet Pluto is. Pluto this year is at step 17. That's a long ways up the scale. That's a point up in the scale where many things will begin to change at this point because everyone is making a very quiet decision to themselves the next 3-4 days that will really change their whole life. It'll end up putting you in a different place, in a different time, and allowing different random acts of spiritual kindness to happen to you. So this weekend, as you choose, you really do turn around the corner of a mountain. And I think it's a blind corner. I think all of us are uncertain about what's around the corner, right? I think looking in the international news, just what President-elect Trump has brought as newness, just like complete newness, tells us that we have no idea what's around the corner. But yet it's exciting in the sense that the planet is finally moving forward, at least this line is moving. And I believe there's some exciting things on the other side of this Mount Pluto. And what I'm looking at to decide this is Saturn. The thing is that Saturn has been in Sagittarius for a little while now. Now, Sagittarius is basically our story. It's our culture. And in my opinion, the galactic center, which is at 27 degrees Sagittarius, is the eye of God. It is, at the end of the day, what's going to happen in your life, what you promise God in your life, and what God is promising us in life. So it is our relationship to the entire universe. And what's interesting is that Saturn, the planet of let's get serious about, is going to hit the galactic center this spring. Not only is it going to hit the galactic center, it's actually going to conjunct the galactic center and stop. Right at the center, it retrogrades backwards. Now, how do I interpret this? Well, I interpret this as the story we were born to live. Yes, Saturn crossed the galactic center in the 80s, but the difference was the galactic center was at step 26 before the Mayan shift. After the Mayan shift in 2012, the galactic center went to step 27. The difference between 26 and 27 is 26 is us deciding, 27 is us going for it. It becomes I act, I am. So my point is Saturn is going to tell us to go for it here in March. Go for what? Well, go for our highest vision of what we believe we are here to do. That's the simple definition of it. If you don't know, is your highest vision of what you're here to do? What if you only get halfway? Then you are obviously destined only to get halfway, okay? But I believe everyone is ready to run for kind of their California gold, if you will. Back in the gold rush, people suddenly were like, you know what? It's time to act. And in the last few weeks, as I've been doing so many readings, catching up and also meeting new clients, many of you have told me, when you talk about it's the time we were born to live, I feel that too. So a lot of people have affirmed to me they feel this in their bones. So the interesting thing is around Mount Pluto here, we continue with the story we were born to live. In fact, up until this weekend, it's my opinion that we are just dumping all of our spiritual garbage, scraping our spiritual plaque off our teeth. Basically, it's been a long and difficult journey up until this point, and I believe we had to officially decide to turn our back on it and move forward with the unknown future. It is kind of us walking into the sunset. And that kind of spiritual baggage had to be let gone. I mean, we had to let go of it, I think, before we could actually try to pursue what we wanted. Here's the other interesting perspective of that. I really believe, honestly, that if you were to write a biography about your life right now, you'd probably want to start the book at this point. This is where I think everyone's story gets most interesting. Have you noticed how dull life has been in many ways? Like the same movies, the same ideas, the same stories, the same rhetoric. We as a culture have run an end to our culture and are ready to rebuild our culture. That's what Saturn in Sag is. We're going to rebuild it. And in the month of January, Saturn goes step 22. In fact, Saturn is at step 22 right now, which means we are ready to make some sort of breakthrough with ourselves culturally, and in your own life, you're ready to make a breakthrough as well, a breakthrough that will lead you on the path you were born to live. Now, I believe the breakthrough very much is dumping the old garbage, like that's a huge breakthrough. Us letting go of the past, letting it go and moving forward, huge. But I also think the breakthrough is that as soon as you get around that blind corner, we see some sort of something that we hadn't seen before, mostly because our old stubborn garbage was sort of blinding us. So the planets show that Saturn, right now at step 22, keeps marching forward all the way up to March 6th, ironically, of 2017. And on March 6th, it will hit step 27, the galactic center, and it will stop and retrograde. And I always look at the degree that Saturn or any planet stops to retrograde on, because to me, as a step astrologer, it's God telling me a whole lot. In this case, what God is saying is, I want you to think about what you promised me, the Eye of God, Galactic Center, and take a break. So what happens is the Saturn then will retrograde from March 6th to August 26th in this into the summer, basically, at which point Saturn goes direct. Now, in that retrograde, here's how I think it's going to unfold. I'll just go back. Mercury is retrograde, forgive me at this moment. The way it unfolds is, I believe when Saturn hits the galactic center on March 6th, I believe you will remember or know or have a clear vision of what you believe you are here to do. And if you thought you knew and you thought you're on the path, some people will realize, oh my gosh, here's new evidence, here's new information, I've got to change what I'm doing. This is why I kind of call it California Gold Rush, because I imagine something's going to come into our lives that makes us go, oh my gosh, I've got to run it. I can't let this opportunity go, or I must act now, or I must do this. Maybe even the most subtle way would be, I've got to do this before I die, which is a huge kind of, clock striking noon, so to speak, right? As soon as that bell tolls, which is around, by March 6th, says the astrology, then suddenly Saturn backs up, Saturn retrogrades, which means every person on Earth says something like, okay, well, that means I'm going to need shovels, I'm going to need this, I'm going to need that. So you start backtracking for 6 months, all the way through August, almost 6 months, backtracking about what it is, what that means, that calling that you have, what you've decided to do, what your plans will be, how you go about this. And information, resources, and the benefits of your karma from the last cycle start to come in during the 6 months too. So if you're a really good student leading up to the galactic center point, a lot of your effort in that transit comes in during this last 6 months. And then when Saturn goes direct on August 26th, you then make a run for that vision. Everyone makes a run for that vision. Everyone moves forward on that vision. Saturn's on our butt with that vision. It means that we'll be looking at the very, very high ideals and degrees of the way it should be. As a nation, as a world, we'll be having huge philosophical discussions about the way it should be. Okay? It's still very theoretical, but as soon as Saturn moves into Capricorn, which is going to be December 20th, 2017, the end of this year, you will move into production or move into actual market, depending on where you are, it'll get serious. Saturn in Capricorn. And once it gets serious, we will all begin to see what our theories and vision really amount to. They play out or not play out. So there's certainly a shakedown. And a lot of theories get busted right away, like trickle-down Reagan economics, right? Like, it was a good theory, but it got busted over time. So around Mount Pluto is, now that you've dumped your garbage, my friend, which is what this weekend's about, it is time to move forward on your destiny. Move forward to what you feel called to. And keep walking until March, at which point I think you will know, beyond a shadow of your own doubts, that you have the vision for what you're supposed to do. And I think this is, the story we were born to live. Then you'll get a 6-month break to plan, and then it is go time. So it's an interesting time indeed. And that seems like a good place to wrap up. Have a fantastic Pluto karmic weekend, my friend. I'll see you on the other side of Mount Pluto. One little announcement. If you're interested in a little guidance for the month, my Megascope monthly reports are now available for immediate download and purchase at SeriousJoy.tv. These are MP3s that I actually record each month, about 20 minutes or more, and you can get them on your sun sign or your rising sign. They come free in my Serious Joy subscription, but if you're not a subscriber and you'd like to have some guidance, I highly recommend this download. It will captivate you and guide you around Mount Pluto and into what January offers. Again, come on down to SeriousJoy.tv for more. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. So grateful to be of soul service, truly from my heart. And we'll see you on Monday with more. Until then, remember I love you and live love be.